Welcome to the Brian Craig Show. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. In just a bit, I'm going to get into Trump's vow to find out who's funding all this chaos in Minneapolis and elsewhere. But I came across this thing with Mark Ruffalo, who was at the Golden Globes. I don't watch the Golden Globes. I don't watch any award shows. But you know, when these actors act stupid, you don't have to watch the award shows. It's all on X, right? And he said some of the dumbest things I've ever heard. Apparently, he is nominated for a Golden Globe. And what? Is there another Hulk movie out or something? Let me just play this and then let's talk about it. Mark Ruffalo, and I haven't seen him in a while. He's changed in appearance since the last time I saw him. He's aged about 63 years since the last time I saw him.
This is for her. This is for the people in the United States who are terrorized and scared today. I know I'm one of them. I love this country.
Oh wait, well let me play the whole thing uninterrupted. Then I'll go back and we'll do a breakdown, okay?
This is for her. This is for the people in the United States who are terrorized and scared today. I know I'm one of them. I love this country, and what I'm seeing here happening is not America. It's just not.
Mark, why do you feel that this platform is still useful to spread a message like this?
Listen, I want to pretend like this is, I want to be here to celebrate, and I am here to celebrate, and I'm proud to have a Golden Globe nomination. But also, this is not normal anymore. And so I don't know how I could be quiet. And I'm feeling a little sick, so it's hard to BS right now. So
He doesn't want to talk to the USA Today liberal fake news reporter. Okay, Mark Ruffalo is wearing a button for Renee Good, who is the woman that tried to run the ICE officer over. And, you know, I want you to think about the stupidity and the 100% complete hypocrisy of Mark Ruffalo, okay? And if you know, who does he look like? He just looks like somebody not himself anymore. I don't really know. But so Renee Good and her lunatic friends, what are they protesting against or for, right? They're trying to keep the illegals in this country. So he's wearing a button on his tuxedo supporting a woman who is trying to keep illegals in the United States that are taking American jobs. If you went to any movie that Mark Ruffalo ever was in, and the only thing I think I've seen with him are these, I saw him in a couple of those movies where he plays Bruce Banner in the Hulk. What else has he been in? He's defending the illegals. If you went to any movie that this guy was in, would there be any non-union labor on that film? I don't think so. Do you think whatever movie he got nominated this year for a Golden Globe for, do you think they had illegal movie worker people from Mexico working on that movie? I don't think so. They're all legal, card-carrying union people. Even the people that are emptying out Mark Ruffalo's garbage from his dressing room. There's no undocumented people on movie sets. It's against the union rules. And it just blows my mind that these idiot Hollywood actors who you got to have that union card to pick the cigarettes up off the ground outside the soundstage. I'm not kidding. But they want illegals to come here and take everybody else's job. It cracks me up. You know, I saw an interview with Tom Hanks. Who's that actor? Who's that guy? He's a comedian. He was on Saturday Night Live. And he has a YouTube channel where he hikes with people and interviews them. Do you know who that is, Kathy? There's a guy, he was on Saturday Night Live. He's a comedian. And he has a YouTube channel where he hikes and interviews celebrities on the hike. I watch his channel all the time. I can't think of his name. Anybody know who I'm talking about? Kevin Nealon. Thank you very much. That was my wife, Kathy. Kevin Nealon. You ever see Kevin Nealon's show? I was watching him with another liberal idiot, Tom Hanks. And Tom Hanks was griping about all these British actors that are taking the jobs from American actors here in this country. Oh, wait a minute. I thought you were for open borders, Tom Hanks. Mark Ruffalo, what are you complaining? And he was saying, how would they like it if John Hamm and I went to England and took all their work? Well, that's what's happening here to construction workers, truck drivers, skilled labor that work on construction sites, except carpenters on movie sets and electricians on movie sets. They're documented union, card-carrying union guys. These liberals are nothing but sick hypocrites.
This is for her. This is for the people in the United States who are terrorized and scared today. I know I'm one of them.
What's he scared of? What's he scared of? Right? And how's he being terrorized? Mark Ruffalo. I think I was terrorized watching those Avenger movies. There are way too many of them.
This is for her. This is for the people in the United States who are terrorized and scared today. I know I'm one of them. I love this country, and what I'm seeing here happening is not America. It's just not.
Mark, why do you feel that this platform is still useful?
I would love to be on that red carpet and say, how many undocumented immigrants from Latin America worked on your movie that you're nominated for the Golden Globe for? How many are non-union, illegal, undocumented aliens from South America? You don't think they got movie people down in Mexico and Argentina and all these places down there, and Venezuela? Of course they do. Of course they do.
Useful to spread a message like this.
Listen, I want to pretend like this is, I want to be here to celebrate, and I am here to celebrate, and I'm proud to have a Golden Globe nomination. But also, this is not normal anymore. And so I don't know how I could be quiet, and I'm feeling a little sick, so it's hard to BS right now. So
he's being nasty to these guys in the press that agree with him. Like he's like, don't talk to me, don't talk to me. Renee Good, he's supporting Renee Good. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think Mark Ruffalo would say to me if I pointed out that there are no undocumented illegals? If I asked him about that on his movies, you know what he would say? F you, and he'd walk away. That's what he'd say. Kind of like some of the liberal callers that I talk to. Welcome to the program. If you're new, my name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for joining. Make sure you subscribe if you are new. Oh, my goodness. Selma Hayek came up from Mexico. You think they liked it when she came up here and started taking American girls' jobs? Oh, my goodness. All right, so the world is becoming so much more free every day thanks to our favorite president, Donald John Trump, the 45th and 47th president of the United States. And Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran, is about to collapse. I mean, it's really, it's about to collapse. And this is an awesome thing. President Trump may bomb them because they've been murdering the protesters. And there's this new movement. I like this. Iranian lives matter.
Mr. Mark Ruffalo, why are you talking about the ICE, that one single woman that died, that came in front of ICE? I don't understand where you guys want to take this with Gaza and Hamas and the Islamic Republic of Iran. Neither of you have lived under the Islamic Republic tyranny that you guys are talking about the death of one single woman that have came in front of an ICE agent, a police. And you guys are talking about, you guys have human rights. You guys have everything that you need in your life. We have been taken, our lives have been taken away from us. You guys have everything, and you guys once have one president in your country that wants the best for the people of America that have built the land for 250 years. America has a right to have a country. America has a right to have a country as much as Iranians have a right to have a country. So let's get the facts right here. All right? Let's not get ourselves lost in this illusion that you guys have been building for us, for people. All right?
I like that guy.
The woman that died that came.
He told Mark Ruffalo where it's at. Yeah, exactly. And another thing with these Hollywood Mark Ruffalo types. My wife was telling me this right before the show. She said, I thought all these Hollywood people like dictators. Yeah, they love Cesar Chavez, who was the mentor of this Venezuelan monster. They love Fidel Castro. They used to love to go and hang out with all the Gaddafi. They love them all. BBC used to go love and hang out with Osama bin Laden. Remember that? They all love hanging out with dictators, but they call Trump a dictator. If Trump were a dictator, would these Hollywood people like Mark Ruffalo be able to go on the red carpet and trash the dictator, right? Like in Maduro's Venezuela. Did the actors of Venezuela take the red carpets in Venezuela and rip the dictator? Did they allow that? Did they allow that in Fidel Castro's Cuba? Did the Cuban actors go there and rip Fidel? I don't think so. Actors will never stop humiliating themselves, because you know what it is with actors? They're stupid people. And what happens is they think that people care what they think. People don't even care about actors anymore, right? The days of the movie stars are over. There's very few actors really left at all, and AI may replace the few that are left. But what happens with Mark Ruffalo and actors like this is, it's not just that they think people care what they think. They think that they're their movie characters, and their lines in the movies that made them famous are written by educated people that went to school, didn't drop out, and and go to Hollywood. And when they start speaking on their own, they don't realize how stupid they sound. They sound intelligent in the movies when they're reading the words that they've memorized that were written by an educated person. Oh, my goodness. But Renee Good, they're trying to make her into another George Floyd, right? St. George Floyd. You ever hear Mark Dice talk about St. George Floyd? St. Renee Good. And, I'm sorry that she died and that happened, but if you run over cops, this would happen. So they're trying to make Renee Good into this memorial person. This woman here, she's going to get a Renee Good tattoo.
I told myself I was never going to get another tattoo. I just have a giant one on my back. I planned it for a long time, and now I think I'm going to get her name tattooed on me, Renee Nicole Good.
Oh.
Choosing where, that may take some time, but
choosing where should she get the tattoo? She's going to get a tattoo of Renee Good. She's not sure where she's going to get it. Where do you think she should get the tattoo?
I told myself I was never going to get another tattoo. I just have a giant one on my back. I planned it for a long time, and now I think I'm going to get her name tattooed on me, Renee Nicole Good. Choosing where, that may take some time, but maybe that's it. Maybe I'll have a list on my body of the people killed by our own government without any fucking cause.
Yeah, why don't you have Lincoln Riley's name tattooed on you, lady? How about that?
That could get long. And that's the sad truth of life in America in 2026.
Yeah, white liberal women. That's it. White liberal women, man. Just, oh boy, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of memes of this woman already. Here's somebody, she has Renee Good's name on her forehead, kind of like Chakotay from Star Trek Voyager over there. Yeah, that would be a good place. Oh my goodness. The problem that they're trying to get this thing going with Renee Good. They're not going to get it going because it's just not going to happen with a white person. It's just not going to happen. They're not going to turn her into the next St. George Floyd. It's just not. It's not going to happen. If we had as many videos of the George Floyd incident before things really got to the end, and from every perspective, that'd be a different situation too, probably, right? We have so much footage because the protest was going on and everyone was recording the footage prior to that. Usually people don't take their cameras out and start filming on their phone until the incident's already happened. You kind of see an after thing. You don't get to see what led up to it. But because this was a protest, we've got the film all the way through. Listen to this guy.
I used to be a Democrat. I stood by you guys because you promised us liberty, justice, diversity. This is not diversity. Your silence is complicit. Democrats, wake the damn up. This is not okay. Iranian people right now, they're in prison. They're in prison. They're in complete digital blackout. How can you be silent?
Yeah, because they're liberals, right? Liberals don't even hear themselves. They really don't. They really, truly don't. And, what's going on in Iran right now is amazing. I mean, those of you that are old enough like me to remember the 51 American hostages that were taken at the embassy, and that was a big thing. If you were around then, it was a big thing. And remember, people had candles in their windows. They would tie ribbons on their trees. Tony Orlando would sing about it, and you tie ribbons out there. It was a big deal, and it was a big humiliation. And Walter Cronkite, who was the CBS Evening News guy back in those days, every night he started this thing, Day 262, America held hostage. Every day he ended his broadcast with how many days it had been, America held hostage. And it was a national embarrassment, and it was sad. And they all did come home eventually because of Ronald Reagan. But and ever since then, the Iranians have been doing nothing but funding Islamic terrorism and have been running assassination plots against our president, Donald Trump. And they're just the Islamic Republic they're just evil. And President Trump standing up to defend these very brave Iranians who were risking their lives, and some of them are sacrificing their life to free Iran. It's absolutely amazing. What kind of dictator? They call Trump a dictator. What kind of dictator supports those overthrowing the dictators? Right? Iran, Maduro, right? Doesn't sound like a dictator to me. It sounds like a freedom fighter. But, what I've talked about so much over the last few months, the liberals have just gone nuts, opposing things that are good. The things that Donald Trump is working on are things that are universally good, like supporting the liberation of Iran. And even Fetterman agrees with Donald Trump.
The president saying he's now considering taking military action inside Iran. Do you want the U.S. to get involved like that?
Sure, absolutely. And now if it continues to make more sense, absolutely. I think I was the only Democrat that fully supported our strike of their Iranian nuclear facilities last year. And now, by then, without those kinds of strikes, Iran could have acquired a nuclear bomb. I hope we can all agree that Iran should have never acquired a nuclear bomb. And Iran is one of the world's top terrorist unwriter. And now you have that poisonous regime now in spiral. So why wouldn't we want to support that? And those brave protesters, they've killed probably more than 600 by now. So now, why would we want to have the kinds of targeted kinds of action that could break that regime?
There are sources do tell CNN that there
That's
are concerns inside the Trump administration, though, that taking military action,
See, this is where they start. Okay, now, before we get into that part that's all made up, the reason I share this with you is this is how red this country is. Fetterman's got to run for re-election. So Pennsylvania went for Trump. He knows that Pennsylvania is a MAGA state. So he goes out there and backs Trump all the time because Pennsylvania, like most of the rest of the country, are MAGA, have been red-pilled.
There are sources do tell CNN that there are concerns inside the Trump administration, though, that...
the total made-up thing. What sources does CNN have inside the Trump administration with insiders? They have no sources. They're just making crap up here. Think about this, right? When we got Maduro in Venezuela, the Trump cabinet knew about that for quite a while. They were waiting for the perfect weather conditions. Nothing leaked out. Nothing leaked out when the whole cabinet was in on it. All kinds of things going on. But now they've got sources that are leaking crap out? I don't think so. Total made-up BS.
We want to have the kinds of targeted kinds of action that could break.
There are no leaks, especially to CNN.
There are sources do tell CNN that there are concerns inside the Trump administration, though, that taking military action, military strikes, could actually backfire and undermine the protests by swelling support for the Iranian government. Do you see that?
No.
Yeah, if it makes sense. Again, if those strikes make sense, absolutely, I do support those things.
See what she said? First off, she just made up this thing that they have leaks in the White House telling CNN things. If they had leaks, they would have leaked out the Venezuelan attack. Okay, there's no leaks in the White House, so that CNN's lying. And then this idiot, she says, well, there are those who say that an attack by President Trump on Iran in support of these protesters would have the Iranian people rally behind their government. What, the ones that are in the street with rifles shooting down their own citizens, they just make crap up.
You know, I don't know exactly what the conversation is. I'm saying I'm open to that, and I am actually inspired by the real kinds of courage that those protesters in Iran are demonstrated now. So I don't know why we can't all want to support that, to back them and now bring that awful regime, you know, to its knees. No, that's where it's at right now. They're so desperate. Now they killed the internet, and now they're mowing down their own citizens. Now they're even so desperate, offering $6 a month as some kind of a payoff now too. Now, for me, I think we can all agree that the world would be better, safer, and more just if you could break that regime.
Yeah, see the idea of the Islamic Republic of Iran just turning back into a regular country, it just makes them physically ill, doesn't it? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Bobby from Kentucky.
Yeah, all right, Bobby. Thanks for your call. Appreciate it. Shout out to Kentucky. We like our Kentucky people. All right, this is a good one. MAGA, Mike Johnson.
I am concerned about that, and we should not be limiting funding for Homeland Security at a dangerous time. We need public officials to allow law enforcement to do their job.
Are you confident you can prevent a government shutdown?
I am. I think we will.
The thing about Mike Johnson, a lot of people give Mike Johnson a hard time, but it seems to me that Mike Johnson is very loyal to the president. It seems to me that he's always there for President Trump and always supporting President Trump. And President Trump always has him with him at all the big events at Mar-a-Lago and everything else, election night. But all the big events, Mike Johnson's always there with President Trump. He's very tight with Trump. Trump trusts him. And MAGA Mike Johnson, it doesn't mean that he can control what everybody does in Congress, right? And you have rogues that do stupid things. But I think he's done a pretty good job of showing his loyalty towards President Trump. Presley here, she's just, how much time does she have to shave her head every day to be that bald? I don't know. Are any of you out there got balding issues? People that shave their head. Does she have to shave her head like every single day? And I wonder, one of the reasons I don't like shaving, sometimes I'll cut myself shaving. And that really sucks, especially when I got to go do a show here on YouTube and I got to cut over my lip or something. Do people that shave their head, do they ever cut themselves like a guy does when they're shaving? I don't know. It seems like a lot of trouble. But you know what? You know why she does this shaved head look? So she stands out. Complete narcissist. She wants everybody in the room to know who she is, okay? That's why she does it. It's for attention. And what kind of sicko wants attention so much? A woman who goes around bald-headed just so everybody in the room looks at her, even though they're looking like it's a freak show. But anyway, she's talking about the Renee Good who tried to run over the ICE agent on MS Now.
ICE's murder of Renee Good in broad daylight is horrific and unacceptable. She was an unarmed citizen driving on a residential street.
Okay, this unarmed thing, a guy called today, they got this talking point where they're trying to have a moral equivalency between Renee Good running over the ICE agent and Ashley Babbitt. And this is what I said this morning when that guy called in. There was something that Renee Good had that Ashley Babbitt didn't have, and that was a weapon. And Presley here, who says, well, she was unarmed. No, she was armed with a 2,000-pound SUV.
And unacceptable. She was an unarmed citizen driving on a residential street, and she was shot in her car 3 times. So whatever Jedi mind tricks Republicans try to use on the American people, that try to talk us out of what our eyes see, what our bodies experience, and the trauma that our communities are experiencing throughout this country. And of course, the horrific actions of Renee Good, who was a wife and a mother and a poet and a concerned.
You know, I keep hearing that she was a poet. Have any of you heard any of her poetry? I haven't. If she's this big poet, why aren't they sharing her poetry? Have any of you seen her poetry?
A community member, which is why she was out there protesting in the first place. Her brutal murder, these things do not happen they're not in isolation. This is why for many years I've been calling for the abolishing of ICE.
Yeah, why don't we call for the abolishing of women walking around with bald heads like Lady Kojak? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Adam from New York.
Yep. What's up, New York?
Hey, Brian. Hope you have a good afternoon.
Yeah. Every afternoon is good.
I was calling.
Mm-hmm.
I found out that read this morning, that Renee Good or her friend or lover, well, partner,
wife,
received was receiving $1.5 million from a GoFundMe.
Well, I heard there was a GoFundMe that this morning I saw that raised $1.5 million for the wife, but I don't know if she started it. I don't know.
The federal government should seize that money for a domestic terrorist.
Okay. You know, I mean, I don't know how this works. Like when there's these news events, people like this, there's all of a sudden a GoFundMe. And they raise a lot of money, and I wonder who set that up. Is that like a con, right? Is there like some con man who put together this GoFundMe, raised $1.5 million in her name real quick, and then he runs off with the money? Will the money go to the wife, or did some con man in some far off land put that? You know what I mean? I wonder about that. Like, are there some con men that monitor the news, and when there's some high profile news event like this, they start a GoFundMe, raise six figures, in this case $1.5 million, then they take the money and run? I wonder about that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, watching the wife with the ICE agent, she doesn't look computer savvy. It doesn't look like she'd put together a crowdfunding campaign on her own.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I just think the money should be freezed up.
Yeah, I agree. It should be freezed up. Absolutely. Everything should be frozen up. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right. Once, twice. You missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is D.
All right.
I'm from Ohio, by way of North Carolina.
All right. Ohio, what say you?
Yeah, how you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm actually a Navy veteran.
Okay.
Served doing Iraq. I'm either left or right. But one thing I'm looking at is where the country is going as far as the partisan politics. I'm very much a student of history, and I read like the 14 points of fascism by Roberto Eco. I'll say this: I didn't agree with President Trump. In my opinion, inciting the riot, but he's president now, and one thing I think that he could do is try to get the country back together in some type of way.
Well, hold on. You know, I consider myself someone that's pretty well up to date on news and events and history and everything. And you made reference to something that I'm not familiar with. Something you said. I'm going to ask you about it. Maybe you can explain. You said that Trump incited a riot. I'm not familiar with that. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, January 6th. Yeah.
No. You said that Trump inspired a riot. That Trump didn't inspire a riot on January 6th.
No, I apologize. I didn't say inspire. Incited.
No, incited? No, he didn't incite a riot on January 6th.
So what was that? Day of love?
Yeah. How did he incite a riot? What did he do?
Calling people to come up. Actually, all right, I'm glad you brought it up. Do you remember the Gore and Bush? And I'm gonna make sure I stay on topic. Do you remember the Gore and Bush election of 2000?
Yeah, I'm in Florida. I was in the counting rooms in the 2000 recount. I went to the counting rooms every day. They were counting the ballots by my house. Yeah, but you said that President Trump incited a riot, so I missed that. How did he incite a riot on January 6th? How'd that happen?
By telling people to go storm. Come on, bro.
He didn't tell people to go storm something. What did he tell people to go? He didn't tell anyone to storm anything.
So why were everybody up there?
He had a speech that he gave that people attended, and he said he said peacefully, let your voices be heard. He didn't say storm anything.
But did he also say fight like hell too? Come on now,
no. You know, when you're playing football, and the coach might say, "Go out there and fight like hell and make a touchdown."
Okay, I kind of see your point, but
yeah, okay, good. I just red-pilled somebody, guys. This gentleman was just red-pilled. Welcome to the club. Thanks for the call. Oh man, I just red-pilled him. There you go. He came out of the matrix. Now he's back in it right now. He'll be back in it real quick. He doesn't know what happened, but just red-pilled the guy. Oh man, you know it's amazing. You know what happens? What happens with liberals, you know, is they really don't know much about anything. Talking to liberals is like trying to have a conversation with a telemarketer. They got these talking points that have nothing they can back up, right? Fed to them by the left-wing media. And you start having a conversation with them, and they fall apart real quick. Now, by the way, to our veteran, it's one call per show. Okay, you're on the air.
This is the previous call.
It's one. I did. It's one call per show. No. I moved on. I moved on, but it's one call per show. Call me on another show, okay, and we'll talk. Oh my goodness. Yeah, see, it just sunk in what he said. Now, our favorite president, Donald John Trump. Let me pull this up. This was the press conference last night on Air Force One.
Her friend were highly disrespectful of law enforcement. You saw that. They were harassing them, were following for days and for hours. And I think, frankly, they're professional agitators. And I'd like to find out, and we are going to find out who's paying for it, with their brand new signs and all the different things. But these are professional agitators, and law enforcement should not be in a position where they have to put up with this stuff. What that woman and what her friend and what their other friends were doing to law enforcement, not just ICE, law enforcement is outrageous.
Yeah. And what President Trump has vowed to do is to find out who's funding these things. And they're really working hard on that. You know, what I think they're doing right now in Minneapolis is they're putting together a bunch of informants, right? They're infiltrating these Antifa groups in Minneapolis with undercover agents to try to find out who but no, the Democrats have been running the country the last few years. They don't want to know who's funding or running Antifa and these other organizations. Now, and no matter where you are in the United States, Jamie Levac at Swift Tax can help you with your taxes. And I know people in this audience, you've been calling Jamie Levac from all over America, Chicago, Wisconsin, Georgia, many other places, not just Florida. And he can help you with your federal income tax, your state income tax. If you're in a state with income tax, we don't have that in Florida, but if you're in a state that has state income tax, Jamie Levac from Swift Tax can help you with that. If you've got city taxes like in New York City, he can take care of those for you too. And I want to remind you, the entire tax code has been changed due to the big, beautiful bills passage of President Trump. And he knows the big, beautiful bill inside and out. Call Jamie Levac. This number rings directly to his cell phone. You can call or text and schedule an appointment. He'll make sure that you get the largest return that you are entitled to under the new tax code. 954-773-1587. 954-773-1587. We'll be right back. On the line, we have Bruce. Bruce is a client of Jupiter Joe Thomas. He heard me talking with Joe Thomas about annuities and what a great deal they are, and he went in with his wife, and now he's a client. Hey, Bruce, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Brian.
So tell me about your experience with Jupiter Joe Thomas.
A fine gentleman. We sat down with Joe, and we explained everything to him, and we brought all our information, and he worked everything out great.
The cool thing about annuities is your money's never at risk. You're guaranteed a revenue stream for the rest of your life, but there's a bonus, really a signing bonus, where you can make a boatload of money before you even leave Joe Thomas's office. Can you talk a little bit about that, Bruce?
Well, that's where I was surprised when we sat down. We talked about the bonuses, and to my amazement, it was 10%, and there was even another one that's bigger.
Wow, that's amazing. So you made 10% on your money before you even got back in your car.
Yeah, it was more than that, but it was great.
Listen, guys, do what Bruce did. Give Jupiter Joe Thomas a call. You can set up a free consultation either on the phone or in the office, and Joe Thomas will put together a custom proposal just for you. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. And online at jupiterjoe.com.
Tom Laporta here from Laporta Roofing. Happy New Year, health, wealth, and happiness, and may 2026 be your best year. The first quarter of each year is the slowest for roofing contractors across Florida due to the lack of rain, vacationers, and recuperating from the holiday spend. We have secured 2024 pricing on certain roofing materials with our suppliers for the first quarter only. So if you are planning on a new roof in 2026, take advantage of our first quarter low pricing now. These savings are significant, especially for multiple building HOA and condo associations. This covers shingles, tiles, and flat roof systems, so give me a call on my cell at 954-604-4602 or find us on the web at laportaroofing.com. That number again is 954-604-4602 or on the web at laportaroofing.com.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian, and if you're new, make sure you subscribe. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. If you're watching live, the number is pinned in the live chat. All right, so I got a couple stories here, real good news. U.S. House has introduced a bill to annex Greenland and grant it statehood. This taking of Greenland and making it part of the United States is a done deal. I think President Trump's decided he's going to do it, and he's going to do it. And there's nothing that anyone is going to be able to do to stop it. We need it. I've been watching a lot of analysis on the significance of Greenland, and I never really gave too much thought about Greenland. I don't know why we didn't take it like 60, 70 years ago. I really don't know. By the way, what was Denmark's role in the Second World War? Did they collaborate with the Nazis, Denmark, in the Second World War? Were they collaborating? I don't know how they handled it. I don't know how they held on to it, I should say, Greenland. But, President Trump, the way that he's doing things, he has so many things going on. He's got complete chaos, right? Greenland, Maduro, Cuba, right? The drug cartels, Iran. There's all this going on, and the opposition to President Trump can't even see straight. So I don't know if I want Greenland as a state, because they'd get 2 senators, and there's only 50,000 people that live there now. That would grow quick because people would move there, but they'd get 2 senators. I don't know how they'd vote, and I don't want to throw the Senate out of whack, but maybe they'd be so grateful. Maybe they'd be Republican votes. I don't know. If they were safe Republican, I wouldn't mind it. And I think they would only get 1 House member, if even that. I mean, I don't see how they could even qualify with that population for statehood. Is there a population requirement for a state? There might be a population requirement for statehood, but they could become a territory. Then we don't have to worry about throwing the Congress out of whack. But there's too much going on from the president and in Washington about making Greenland part of the United States for it not to be a thing. And right here in Florida, a grand jury is being impaneled in Fort Pierce, Florida, starting today in the Crossfire Hurricane and the raid on Mar-a-Lago. And Fort Pierce is in St. Lucie County, Florida. St. Lucie County and the county just to the south of it, Martin County, are the two most MAGA counties in the United States. They are hardcore MAGA, and we just had a jury conviction of the golf course assassin in that courthouse in Fort Pierce. So I can think of no place better to have a federal grand jury probing the break-in of Mar-a-Lago and Crossfire Hurricane. They're going to get an indictment. And when it goes to trial, they'll get a trial in that courthouse because the jury pool is as MAGA as it gets. I mean, it is hardcore MAGA. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian, this is Daniel from Mississippi. I hope y'all get me. I got a real bad cold, but it'll be all right.
Okay.
You know that Maduro, the day they went over and got him.
Maps here.
He met with the Chinese people.
Uh-huh.
That delegation of Chinese
That's
people.
right, the day before. That's correct.
What the Chinese do, they loan them a bunch of money where they can't pay it back, and then they take over all that mineral.
Yes.
President Trump said, not on my watch.
All the deals are off with China and Iran and Russia with Venezuela.
That's right. That's the same
And Cuba.
thing that's
I left
going
out
on
Cuba.
Yeah. Oh, well, Cuba ain't got nothing to offer China, but Cambodia, you're trying to do that over in Cambodia, too.
Yeah.
They want to make that thing go across there. Well, that's what China does. They try to loan them a bunch of money, and then they take all their minerals and all that.
That's right.
And
That's
Trump,
what they do.
President Trump said, yeah, not on my watch.
That's correct. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. You made some good points. So this was some analysis about Greenland and the Arctic. This was on Fox, okay? Watch this. Over the weekend, watch this.
Again, we're using maps here. You got to use your imagination a little bit. This is not flat. This comes up to the Arctic Circle. This all comes to the top of the sphere. So if we draw a line and just consider this, the north part of the approaching the Arctic Circle, look at all of these Russian military bases, hundreds of them. And in those Russian military bases, which are on Russian land, but incredibly close, if not in the Arctic Ocean and Greenland, which is incredibly close to us, we look at some of the assets here, and that's where we start to take notice. There are naval assets here. Think a lot of their nuclear submarines, things of that nature, and opportunities to cross the Arctic Circle and get to us really quickly. Again, what it comes down to is Russia is a northern country. Of course, we're going to have more going on up here. What can we do to monitor this, to combat this, to deter this? We had the nuclear missile crisis in Cuba because they were trying to get closer to us. Well, if we own Greenland, that's not a problem because then that's our territory and we can put whatever we want there. Not to say we can't in some ways already, but it really makes strategic sense. And what's right below Russia in this area? We have another big foe. So this idea that we could have a larger presence there in Greenland, also be able to go in and explore so much there that is natural resources and opportunities to.
Yeah, so, the reason I show this is a interesting thing because we basically have no deterrent to the Russia aggression in the Arctic, and they have access way too close to North America, to the United States and Canada. And President Trump wants Greenland because he wants to have this buffer between mainly Russia, but also China and the United States. And all of a sudden, the left, who have been obsessing over Zelensky and anyone who did not support U.S. involvement in that war as being a Putin lover, oh, you're in with Putin, you think Putin's a good guy. All of a sudden, the Democrats are trying to protect Putin by stopping President Trump from acquiring Greenland. If you're an anti-Putin person on the left, don't you want the United States to take Greenland so we can protect them from all these Russian bases and everything up there in the Arctic? Yeah. I mean, liberals, they don't know what they're saying. They don't know what they stand for. They don't understand who they are. They just hate Republicans. That's basically it, isn't it, in a nutshell? If you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe, guys. This is most definitely where MAGA comes to talk. This is the most pro-Donald Trump place you'll find anywhere. You'll never hear me disagree with President Trump. You'll never hear me criticize President Trump. You know, and a lot of people, you know, have told me over the years, because I've said that since Trump came down the escalator. A lot of people tell me, oh, no, you got to disagree with Trump on occasion. You'll lose credibility. What? So what? Every other Thursday I got to attack Trump for a whole show so I can be the big man? No. And for those who think, well, you must disagree with him on something. You're just keeping it secret. No. While I'll never criticize nor disagree with him, it's not that I'm hiding something that he said or done I disagree with and I take issue with. I agree with everything he said and everything he's done. He's the best president we've had ever. I would argue in the history of this country. And you look at the big picture of what President Trump is doing. If you're honest with yourself, what has he ever done that's wrong? You know, he may say something or do something, and then people will be like, oh, that's terrible. You shouldn't say that. You know, I like people that don't get captured. And then you find out like a few days later, a week later, that Trump was right. He's always vindicated. No matter what, he's always vindicated. And I'm really enjoying these liberals all of a sudden defending Putin to have dominance in the Arctic region. It cracks me up, really, because they don't even hear themselves. They don't, you know, the thing with, I saw this liberal woman, let me see if I can find this. I saw this liberal woman this morning on X. Let me pull this up. I'm pretty sure I reposted it. And I'll play this for you. She's a liberal Democrat, and she's talking about what Democrats stand for. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. Good. I knew I had it. Listen to this. And never thought I'd agree with a liberal, but listen.
I have a question for you. What unites the left wing? What makes the left wing come together in community? Because with the right wing, it's obviously Christianity and their collective commitment and love for Jesus, and also nationalism. They are nationalists. America, flag, nationalism. Where for me personally, when I think of national, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. So we don't have a unifying glue in the left wing that binds us together. What is it? What brings us together? What do you think?
Yeah, so what she's saying is the Democrats stand for nothing anymore. They don't have any issues. They're splintered. They don't have any platform. The only thing they stand for is we hate Trump. Whatever Trump's for, we're against. Well, that means you stand for nothing, right? How can you just stand for being against anything Trump does, right? Yeah, you know. But I agree with her on that. They stand for nothing. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yes. All right, you missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. Good afternoon. This is Nick out of Baltimore.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Did you get the story that I think one of our destroyers is right north of Cuba?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
I think the Iwo Jima.
The Iwo Jima?
So Cuba.
Oh, the Iwo Jima is the helicopter carrier.
Well, there's one of our.
Let me look it up while we're talking. Let's see here.
I heard that just a little while ago.
Okay, I'll look it up.
And so Cuba's getting ready to go, and the reason I'm calling too in connection with that, I think I've told you this before. Maybe if I'm repeating myself, tell me. But I've been listening to monitoring Radio Havana, Cuba, and they seem to be rather tame. And friends of mine down in Florida are telling me that the AM band is relatively clear now. The jamming is kind of been minimized.
What do you mean in Cuba?
Jamming. Yeah, they seem to be on just about every frequency they were.
Yeah, but you know it wasn't that long ago. In the last year, like one of the Cuban stations that in Miami, that I can't remember which one. It was one of the more famous ones. that would broadcast towards Cuba shut down, went off the air.
Steve Kane or Steve Kane?
I guess I'll have to call Steve Kane after the show.
Yeah, it was. You're talking about the one at 710.
I can't remember. It's one of the famous ones. One of the famous Cuban stations. There just aren't that many stations broadcast. That generation has mostly died off or in retirement homes. You know.
Well, you know, the Radio Marti's out of Marathon Key, Florida on 1180, so that's now getting through to Cuba.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it was being
But they have more internet down there than people realize, because, you know, while we have an embargo, Canada, it's a big tourist destination for Canada and Europe, and they're not traveling there without, you know, without internet.
Right. But when we go into Cuba, that's going to be a heck of a resort. They're going to turn that into and what a beautiful country that was, because I've been watching some YouTube videos of what Cuba was before Castro destroyed it, and it's in horrible shape now.
Well, you know, I've flown over Cuba a few times when I've traveled. You know, I flew to South America, flew to Puerto Rico, and on our MAGA cruises every year, on many a cruise, we sail along the coast of Cuba. It's empty.
Right, you go past it.
Yeah, but you're pretty close to it. There's no buildings, no resorts, nothing. It's beautiful, but it's almost like a deserted island.
Yeah, they have beautiful beaches, and but that's
no development.
That's going to really get cleaned up once we will go in there.
I hope so.
They're getting ready to do something, and it's going to happen soon, because something is going on. I'm just telling you, something is.
I hope you're right.
About to happen.
I hope you're right.
All
That'd be exciting. All right, take care. You know, if Cuba falls, it's going to be party time here in Florida. I'll go down to Miami. I'll go to Little Havana, and and maybe I don't know. I'll live stream or make a vlog for my channel here in Little Havana. If Cuba falls, I'll be in Little Havana. It's going to be they're going to be partying like it's 1999 down there if Cuba falls. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Robbie from Missouri. Hey, I just wanted to thank you for the hard-on you give me, man.
Okay, well, at least I accomplished something. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, can you hear me?
I can. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Robert. I'm calling from California.
What's up, California?
What's up? What's up? Just wanted to share some thoughts with you. I am a Trump supporter, but I do have some bones to pick with him.
Oh, really? Yes, like all the MAGA people, right? Yeah. Okay, let me hear a MAGA Trump voter from California, but you have some bones to pick with Trump. Pick the biggest one.
Well, the biggest one was the whole ICE thing going on with the immigrants and.
Well, what's your issue? Hold on, slow down. What's your issue with that?
I'll explain it. So in the beginning, he mentioned that he was going to go after people that were criminals, which is 100%. I was 100% okay with that.
Mm.
Now, I'll even help your argument if you are a Trump supporter. I'm a little confused right now, but if you are a Trump supporter, I'll make the argument that every illegal that crosses the border is already automatically a criminal, right? In the eyes of the law,
in
the eyes of the Constitution. Okay, so if we're a country that respects the law and that is a country of laws, as Trump has already established in multiple press briefings and all this stuff, wouldn't it make sense for Trump to follow due process?
They do have due process. They do have due process, and I'll tell you what they're doing. Okay, they do have due process. You're aware of that, right? Are you there? Okay, hold on. Are you with me? Did I lose you?
No, you.
Okay, they do have due process. The illegals. You know, most of the Joe Biden brought 25 million illegals into this country. Most of the illegals that they're rounding up that aren't like the violent Trinidad Agua MS-13 people, the ones that are less violent or not violent, they are illegals who have not shown up to court dates and such. So when you don't show up to court, you get a bench warrant. See, they do have due process, but illegals have a different due process than U.S. citizens have. It's a different process.
We'll go with that.
It's true.
Cool. Well, yeah, I don't disagree with you. What I will say is that there are multiple scenarios that can happen as far as an illegal given process. So, with that taken into consideration,
but you said you have some bones with Trump and you vote. What are your other bones that you got to pick with him? You don't like his deportations. What else do you have a grievance with?
For sure, yeah. I have other things, but
well, what are some of the other ones? Yeah, go ahead. Finish your point, then tell me some of the others.
I mean, I haven't finished my point, but I mean, is it okay if I finish my point?
Go on.
Okay, thank you, sir. So it's very complicated with taking everything into consideration. There's many dynamics that are going on right now. There's people from South America, people from El Salvador that are the MS-13 type of individuals. But the fact that they're being picked up from the street without any court appearance first, just by going on profiling. I mean, come on. It's really hard to vote for Trump after seeing all that stuff. When he can literally say, you know what? When he can literally say this, he can say, you know what? Any private agency that tries to go after these people and pick up these immigrants, they're gonna be in trouble if they don't have anything to back it up, because they're also getting people.
Where I'm confused is you claim to be a Trump voter. Trump is doing exactly what he promised to do when he was running for president. Deport the illegals.
He said he was gonna get rid of criminals.
First, he said they're all criminals, as you said. He said he was going to start with the most violent, which they've done.
That only took. Okay, so if we're talking about that only took around 6 months, and
well, they're still working on it, but they're arresting both now. They've spread out a little bit. He said first, we're going after the violent ones first.
Right now, when we talk about this, you also have to think about the fact that some of these people literally they're just being. If it would be anyone else picking people up from the street, you call that an abduction, right? You're just taking them, and even the family members don't know where they're at. The thing is,
go ahead. I'll let you finish it. One more thing.
Okay. The last thing was I was just about to talk about. There was something key in this. That helps us and helps MAGA as well, help people that vote for Trump as well.
Well, wait a minute. You said you were a Trump voter. You said helps MAGA and us as well. Aren't you MAGA? You said you voted for Trump. Now you're separate. Now you're not MAGA.
No. I'm saying because there's like people in the fences right now because of the stuff that's going on. People that voted for Trump, voted for laws, and voted for all this, and then there's people that are on the far left that are like screw Trump. This was going to be this is going to become something that can unite us together, because at the end of the day, freedom is what unites us, not being like multi-freaking whatever you call it,
Yeah. Well, what are some of the other issues that you're upset with Trump about, even though you voted for him?
The whole Israel thing. I don't agree with us backing Israel, because that's literally foreign politics, which was something that he said he was going to stop.
Do you know when the United States first became
and all that stuff?
Do you know when the United States first became allied with Israel?
I want to say when they created it back when the UN, right?
Yeah, 1948. Yeah, we've been allied with Israel since they were a country. So why would we drop them? And since what made you think Trump was going to drop Israel when in his first term he moved the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem from Tel Aviv? He's always been a strong supporter of Israel and friends with Netanyahu.
So let me ask you a question. When did the U.S. people vote for any of this to happen, because at the end of the day, it is we the people. We should.
When we voted for President Trump, President Trump has always been friends and an ally and supporter of Israel and friends with Netanyahu. So if you
do you know why though? Do you know why that? Do you know why that exists?
Why what exists?
Us being allies with Israel. Do you know why that's
yeah, because it's the moral thing to do.
No, not even that. Now, see, you're looking at it in a feeling type of way. The way I see it is money and other things, because that's at the end of the day, that's the root of all evil.
No.
They're looking at the Middle East in a way of geopolitics.
Israel is a poor country.
Having a foot in the Middle East.
Israel's a poor country.
For us.
Israel's a poor country. It's a poor country. Do you know why Israel exists? Do you know why Israel exists? Listen, I got to run because your phone technically is. I can't talk to you. That when I'm talking, it makes all that noise, and I can't. I'm getting a headache. I would like to talk to him and educate him a little bit, but the thing with the phone's giving me a headache. Do you guys understand? I think you do. I couldn't take it. I tried. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Robert from California. Hi.
Yes, Robert.
Yeah, just wanted to touch on a couple of items. I'm Mexican. My grandfather came over back in the 40s, illegal, to help build the railroads here in California and Texas. He became a citizen.
Good.
And loved the United States of America.
Awesome.
My first language was Spanish, but my father moved from a Mexican neighborhood to a better neighborhood so we can assimilate more and become better U.S. citizens. So he went to college. I only went to college for a couple of years, just trying to better our lives, right? I just see our country, gosh, I sure miss the 80s. I really do.
You miss what? You miss what?
The 80s, 1980s.
Yeah, I miss the 80s too. I mean, I was in high school in the 80s, and I graduated high school in the 80s. You know, I mean, we're the same. I miss the 80s too. But you know, my dad misses the 60s, right? And my grandfather missed the 40s. You know, I don't. You know, I mean, I miss the 80s. I got a Miss Pac-Man arcade machine in my house. I got an Atari 2600 hooked up in the living room. You know what I mean? I wear Vans and Ray-Bans every day. You know, if you watch me, you know, I'm an 80s guy, but you know, I miss the 80s.
Hey, Brian, I do want to make this one point. From what I see on TV with all these ICE arrests, what I would like to see on the news, Fox News, CNN, everybody, is show like a double screen. So on the left side, show all those caravans, you know, with thousands of people coming through illegally. And on the right-hand side, show ICE arresting people. How quickly we forgot all those thousands and thousands of people coming through. I live in California, and I see it firsthand. I mean, come on in. We welcome you, but come on in the way my grandfather did. You can't just expect everything for free.
Well, when you say the 80s, in relation to this, what are you referencing? What do you mean? Like you miss the 80s in reference to what's going on now?
Oh, gosh. Mom didn't have to work. Dad had to work one job.
Yeah.
You know, we didn't have a lot, but, you know, we had a new car almost every other year.
Yeah.
Groceries were pretty cheap.
Yeah.
You go to Costco nowadays, $300.
Well, things are more expensive. I mean, this is my fourth live stream today on YouTube, right? I did two live streams before I went on. I did one live stream at like 3 a.m., another one like at 4:30 a.m. Then I did a 3.5 hour radio show I live streamed and did 2 streams there. Now here I am again. I mean, it's life. We got to work. People worked more than you think in the 80s. Your parents just didn't make you privy to what was going on. People, you know, especially in California where they've always had high taxes.
Yeah, well, you know, I did too. You know, when I got together with my wife, we were on food stamps. Living in the Bay Area, looking for through her car for change for gas. Like I said, I went to school. I did 2 years of community college.
Well, you know what some of it is? Obviously, things cost more, right? But we didn't back in the 80s. Well, first off, our parents paid for everything, so we didn't have to worry. But when you know what I mean. But in the 80s, you didn't have so many gadgets. Like, how many apps do you have that you subscribe to? Right? You got like I had to get it pained me to I had to get a new iPhone. How much do these iPhones cost? You know what I mean? There's a lot of we have all these gizmos we didn't have back then that we all want to have, and they cost money. We all want to use an 80s reference. We all want to be Gordon Gekko. Without the Gordon, that's Michael Douglas's character in Wall Street, for those that don't know, and we just don't have really the income for that.
That can be changed. I don't know about every other state, but in California, you can go to school if you're low income. They pay you to go to college.
Oh man, I wish I should have gone to college in California.
Yeah, you can. You can go for free, so there's no excuse not to get a good education.
Mm-hmm.
It's a federal Pell Grant, so I think it's all over
Pell
the
Grants.
United
Yes,
States.
I've heard of Pell Grants. Yeah, that's everywhere. Pell Grants are everywhere.
So there's no excuse for all these folks listening. If you're low income like I was, go get a Pell Grant, and they'll pay you to go to college.
Yeah.
My goodness, go.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
That's a good idea.
Change your future.
And major in something that you can get a job in. Don't major in women's studies or critical race theory or any of that crap.
No, plumbing, HVAC, all those youngsters out there, please listen to what I say. I did it.
Well, I tell you what a great career is these days. Become a 18-wheeler truck driver. Become a truck driver. All the illegal truck drivers are getting busted and deported. So there's a lot of openings as a truck driver, and the salaries are going up.
Right. One more item I just got to say, just let's be kind to each other.
Yes.
If we can try that for a couple of months, everybody just be kind. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Goodness.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. Make sure you subscribe and call me again.
Again, I was hoping the
Robert,
the connection was a little better.
it's one call per show.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Sorry.
Appreciate the call. The rest of you on hold, stand by. What the guy was saying about be nice. I think Trump and MAGA people are very nice. Don't you? I really think so. And, it's not just that we're nice, but being nice doesn't mean that you let your country get pushed around. And, the thing about Trump that makes a lot of people think that, he's not nice or there's some kind of problem with him or something. He's the first president we've had that stands up for the American people in a long time. We haven't, we were talking about the 80s with the previous caller from California and with Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan gave amnesty to some of the illegals, right? We've not had a president that stood up for the American people like President Trump does. And that pisses a lot of people off, and they think it means he's angry or he's mean. No, it's just his job is he's president of the United States, and he has to put the United States and the American people first. Well, yeah, this is my 4th live stream today, so I'm gonna call it a day. But thanks for watching. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you on the next stream. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Take care.